Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bruce Growth channel, where I focus on topics of self-improvement, offer valuable strategies, and overall aim to make your student life much easier and more powerful. Today now in my permanent studio. As you know, this video comes around kind of at the time where college, university, whatever, high school starts internationally. If you need some last minute inputs or just some new tips and ideas, maybe inspirations, then I think this video is just right for you. This episode is a short reflection on my junior year of university, where I list down things that can be essential for starting out strong in your first year of university, to set a good foundation, essentially, by creating your perfect environment to thrive in. This list mostly consists of opportunities, or things that I haven't done, could have done better, or just realized at a later time. Do share your list of self-reflection if you'd like down in the comments, or tell me just what you would do differently. If you want to listen to me talk some more about self-reflection, then keep listening. Otherwise, skip to this timestamp down below to get right to the first part of the video. How I self-reflect. To me, this is important because it's something that is closely intertwined with the channel's philosophy. It's in my intro and pretty much just all over the channel and in most of the videos. Let's learn together. The endless journey of learning. I'll get right to the point. How do you start self-reflecting? Well, first we kind of need to get into the right headspace to take accountability. So in David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me, he talks about an accountability mirror. Face the person that you are, for you are the only person that answers to your choices. It's the first step you take. Realize that to play the blame game is to divert the truth from yourself. The blame game consists of excuses that many of us make because they fear judgment, or in simpler terms, ignorance of facing the truth. Eckhart Tolle introduces a pain body, the accumulation of emotional pain. To overcome these problems is to embrace the truth within you, an item from a non-judgmental perspective. Flee from the grips of past thinking and accept these faults for what they are. It's in the past. For more on this, check out 6 Habits My Favorite Books Taught Me. A second step would be to simply write these down. So that's how I do it. Each event that has impacted me to a higher degree gets its very own page in my journal, which entirely just consists of self-reflection. State the topic from an outsider's perspective, be honest, and get to the point quickly, without all the ifs and could have beens. Write down what you will do better so that history doesn't repeat itself. The third step is gonna be your execution. Find what works for you. Maybe you make audio recordings, write on a blog, or have a confidant like a partner or a coach that offers you meaningful advice. If I had a book on taking ownership over your actions and reflecting, then I would take Extreme Ownership, written by Leif Babin and Jocko Willink. In the following video, you will get a vague insight into my mistakes and how you can do them all better. Join communities and courses. I'll start with my biggest regret, not joining any community in my first semester. I've struggled to meet people who have interests that align with my own. Sure, I've kept in touch online, especially via LinkedIn or Discord, but I would go on to learn that there's a stark interpersonal line with online and offline. Joining a community is not only great because you gain insights into processes that your hobby has, but also lets you connect with different people and make lasting friendships. Opportunities arise from all angles through physical socialization. For example, one community that I'm in organizes these online tests that you can take for finances, which allowed me to not only score in getting an internship I wanted, but also assist me with a video on budgeting. Or one that focuses on winter sports. I was able to improve my favorite interest, skiing, and view a sport from different angles that I thought I'd excel at. Maybe I was humbled, but I learned plenty. And depending on how seriously you take it, you also gain a degree of responsibilities. Why is that a good thing? Well, it creates system, which many people need more of, especially in college, because of this vast amount of time that we actually have allocated towards us, but we kind of struggle to actually use it properly. So more on this later this video. According to Gretchen Rubin, who writes a lot about happiness in her book and blog, joining a community is also a big contributor to overall life satisfaction and happiness. What about courses, be it writing, sports, or cooking? Well, this ties kind of into the same aspect as communities, in a way that you have a lot of interaction, while also cramping up your schedule with meaningful activities that you can benefit from. In my second semester, I signed up for 2 random sports courses on things that I enjoyed doing or had been curious about trying out. One I did with a friend, and the other, which was kind of a freestyle parkour thing, led me to making a friend and meeting another who introduced me to kickboxing. Now I've also taken a free present course to improve my writing and another on creativity. These all run over the university, which means they're generally cheaper than the external one would be. A must if you want to learn new things. Check out your local university's offers or maybe join an external club or community. Get meaningful work. Money is scarce for many students, which is why budgeting is of course a must. So most of us work, whether that pays well or makes the most fun, needless of whether it lacks direction or not. I've spent about 8 weeks as a ski teacher last semester because I had many friends in the local area, but not because it benefited my CV. In my second semester, I followed a friend's advice and started looking for a meaningful internship. What I mean by meaningful work is that it's work that helps me gain insight into the practical work of business, just see processes and see how others kind of do it. We students are often alienated by work because we only absorb the theoretical aspects of it, but never really dive into the praxis. But to do something that is connected with your study course can be both rewarding and enlightening. It is usually then when many of us choose to do something different because the actual study degree is not what we envision it to be in a practical sense. That is not a bad thing. For example, my most recent internship taught me that I genuinely dislike pure office work. This is a little secret between you and me, but I was in fact horrible at it too. But it's still what I would call a very valuable work experience because it brings you one step closer to find what truly drives you. It also lets you tailor your resume. I'm not quite there yet with finishing my degree, but doing a lot to benefit your resume and yourself will ultimately give you a better standing when applying for a job, since it shows that not only have you gained experience to find what works for you, but also have genuine work experience that many students actually lack. Research suggests that a tailored CV can increase your job odds to around 40%, which is a lot. Of course, it matters to do something that you enjoy, but it also helps to do something that holds meaning to your development. One more point is to make sure that it aligns with your schedule. I missed a batch of lecture weekly, which caused me to be a bit behind and having to constantly pester my friends about handing me their notes for the lecture. Creating a system. This is something that you want as early as possible. Sure, find your time to get your bearings, but once you do, employ a system that adds leisure and flow to your schedule. Don't make goals, make systems. If you don't want to listen to me, listen to New York Times bestseller James Clear, who states that in his first chapter. A personalized system of action that can only work for you and nobody else. It has your identity formed by your beliefs. For example, if you want to complete a half marathon but prefer comfort and leisure above all else, you must change this way of thinking before being actually ready to consistently take action over a long period of time. Running once may be easy, but 3 times a week for 3 months? I don't think so. If you don't shift your beliefs, it will be harder to maintain the habit. The goal is not to complete a marathon, it's to become a runner, Clear says. You will always act like the person you believe you are. If you have a language class and you take yourself as somebody who has terrible grammar and language, you will automatically do worse than somebody who identifies themselves as having a high affinity for language. My point is to really form weekly habits. It'll be easier to venture through a scheduled week and you'll be able to accomplish much more if you have routine. But why not take things as they are? What is my point? Well, I believe that it is important, especially because as students, being confronted with a vast study load each semester, it's still not that we can just study 24/7. At least I cannot. I found in my first to second semester that to be more efficient during study and find more satisfaction, it's nice to have a weekly loop that keeps you on your feet and moving. A diverse schedule is great when you're confronted with monotone study. Next to your study, maybe work, do things that actually empower you. Things that fuel your motivation and give you energy rather than take it out. For me, it's exercising around 4 times a week, which includes sports courses from university, working on his YouTube channel, and going on hikes and socializing. In Dick's Some Days Today, lining up activities systematically, one after another, is far more efficient than spreading them all over the week. I'd hate to go to university just to study with a friend for an hour. But if I line up my classes and study before or after, there's a lot more value in those 5 to 10 minutes I spent commuting. I know people who spend about an hour doing so, and they naturally spend most of their day at uni. They attend university for maybe about 2 to 3 times a week, contrary to others who have maybe one class on Monday, another on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and so on. I also save time by going to gym after class, rather than going home and then going to the gym. But do habits make things dull? Well, quite the opposite, I think. Habits must be done continuously to let you be able to identify yourself with them. If a habit doesn't work, try another. To be healthy, you need to eat more healthy than you don't. To stay fit, you can't have an intensive week of training and then pause for the next two. Habits also allow you to stay in control over your schedule and leave plenty of space for freedom of choice. For more on the topic, read Atomic Habits by James Clear, which dictates 4 laws that are really important for forming habits and maintaining them. Student deals. A brief point that you may have been aware of, but I haven't at the beginning, which is a bit embarrassing. Companies know that students want to save money, but it's crazy how many companies have these student deals. For example, in my first 2 semesters, I used Adobe Creative Cloud's regular plan, only to realize that by signing up with your student mail, you save about 30% depending on your region. Same goes for deals like Envato, Apple, and whatever else you may be using. So I started exploring my options and I saved quite a bit of money monthly, enough to maybe give me a free Disney Plus subscription if I wanted to. And naturally, it's also on site, in your local region, be it for museums, water parks, or skiing tickets. This point is very brief, and I'm sure you've done a better job at managing your money in that aspect. I've learned this to a degree now that I started sending emails if I haven't found anything after intensive research. And yeah, it wasn't worth it, but one time, when I was offered a deal that led to a small company actually considering making a student subscription that hasn't existed previously. So something that I can offer you is that asking never really hurts, even if you feel that you may come off as pushy. But it also happened to me that they were like, oh no sir, no, we actually have it like right on our homepage, right in front of you. So yeah, look before you ask. Nobody expects perfection. If you're a perfectionist, then I may have struck a nerve with that one. But I started my first semester also trying to be perfect at everything that I do. Show up to every lecture, eagerly take notes, revise them a bit later, and just do very well in my midterms. Sure, I still do that, and I would suggest you do, but you can also take it to a level that may impact your long-term motivation. I tend to become very impatient and struggle to keep all this information in my head, so to me, it's better to take things slow. But you see, the way a majority of universities and colleges are designed, it's not that it's until the end of semester that you have exams and need to put all that is learned into practice. On one hand, it fosters laziness. Many students don't do anything, much less attend any seminar, unless they actually have to. But on the other hand, it allows you to save energy. Once you take a course, there's no need to remember everything that you've been told. You almost can't, at least I cannot. My motivation and energy were constantly drained, and about 5 weeks into my first semester, I had a massive decline. If I had a graph on study hours per week, you could say that it took a deep dive, similar to how stocks pummeled during the financial crisis of 2008. Author Matthew Dick says how the desire for perfection often stems from the fear of failure. In Brian P. Moran's words, don't let perfection paralyze your process. Take action, don't look for perfectionism, but for the process instead. I'm not trying to encourage laziness or minimalism, but instead it's much better to try and get your bearings first. Once exams are at a realistic time, start studying. Of course I would follow my modules enough so that I have a basic understanding, but all the details and small how-tos I rehearsed and studied towards the end. It was only after my second semester that I learned to put these points into practice after I didn't do really well on my exams. Also be aware of people that took a gap year and people that didn't. Don't compare yourself to people that have a really easy time on getting back in because they just came back from high school. Juniors who take their first semester right after high school may have an easier time than those who spend their gap year not studying much or at all. And we're already at the end of the video. I really hope you could at least take something with you. Please like the video for the algorithm and subscribe to the channel. And I hope you've enjoyed this video.